Ooh, close but no cigar. Actually, that doesn't apply when you're playing golf. Smoking cigars and playing golf kind of go hand in hand. And so what I'm going to do in this video is talk about the factors you might consider when picking out cigars to smoke on the golf course, and also giving you some of my favorites. So let's do that. You know, I've smoked a lot of cigars and I've played my share of golf, and frankly, I'm better at smoking cigars. Over the years, I've learned the factors I think that are important if you want to smoke a cigar on the golf course, or if you have some buddies coming with you, you want to give out cigars and stuff like that. So let me tell you about those factors that I think are important. The first one is sturdiness. And when you're smoking on a golf course, your cigar takes a beating. So you really need to have a sturdy cigar. So for that reason, I really prefer the broadleafs and the San Andres type wrappers that are sturdier, the Maduro type wrappers. Because unfortunately, Connecticut wrappers are pretty fragile and they really don't take the beating that they get on the golf course very well without cracking and breaking. But if you have other people that you're giving cigars to on the golf course, you have to be concerned about the appeal of the cigars and understand the guys that you're smoking with. Are they experienced smokers or new smokers? And if you've got kind of a mix of both, I generally bring one cigar for every person in the party, and a lot of times they'll say no to it. But if it's a mixed group of experienced and new smokers, I'll generally bring 2 broadleaf or 2 Maduros and 2 Connecticut cigars. And that way I can make everybody happy in terms of taste and body. A third factor, and this is an important one too, is combustion. The biggest enemy of cigar smoking, I think, outdoors is wind. You not only on a golf course have a lot of wind because you're in the wide open spaces, but a lot of times you're riding in a cart, and the cart, being in the cart itself, generates a fair amount of wind. So cigars don't burn very good in that environment. So you really want a cigar that burns well. And sometimes that can put you at odds with a Maduro because they aren't the most combustible of cigars. Connecticut's, of course, are, but then you have to worry about sturdiness. Finally, one last factor that may or may not come into play is the image of the cigars that you're giving out. If you're giving out cigars to your golfing buddies, you really want something that's pretty good. You don't want to be giving them factory seconds or stuff like that. Although a lot of them wouldn't appreciate a good cigar if you gave it to them. So you kind of have to find the happy medium in terms of not breaking the bank for the cigars that you're giving out, but ones that have a decent image. And I'll give you some examples of that in the next section when I talk about specific examples of cigars that are good for golfing. Before I go into my list of my favorite cigars for golfing, I do want to give you some tips as well to follow if you're going out at the golf course. First and foremost, don't forget your lighter and don't forget your cutter, because you're not going to get very far without those. For a cutter, I like the V-shaped cutter, especially if you have other guys that you're letting share your cutter that are not experienced. It's a lot easier on the go to use a V cutter than it is to try to use a typical guillotine type cutter. I would suggest keeping the band on as you're playing golf with a cigar, just because we talked about the manhandling that cigars take, and it kind of protects that part of the cigar that you're holding with your hand a lot. And finally, a couple of other tips. Make sure that you extinguish your cigar properly when you put it out. We don't want to start a fire on the golf course. And also, one of the unwritten rules in smoking on a golf course is never ash on the green or on the tee. You can do it on the fairway or anywhere else, but not on the green or the tee, because those are the areas they want to keep pristine. Some cigars that I think are good for taking on the golf course with you. I'm going to divide this into gold medal, the ones I think are best, silver medal that may have some drawbacks, and then bronze. The top of my list is actually the Padron 1000 series. It really ticks all the boxes. It's pretty sturdy, has wonderful combustion, good taste, a broad taste, although it may be a little bit too bold for a new smoker. That's probably the only drawback of it. And it does have some image and prestige along with it too, without breaking the bank. A very close second would be the Umbagog by Dunbarton. And the Umbagog is great. It's actually designed, if you've seen my review of the Umbagog, it's actually designed for being smoked outdoors. So it has great combustibility and it has a very good sturdiness to it with a Maduro wrapper on it. The only drawback I think to that one is it's not a big name. So if you're giving it out to other people, they go, Umbagog, what the heck is this? Also in my gold medal category is the Arturo Fuente Chateau series. And you can get different wrappers on those. So I would go with the Maduro wrapper, the sun-grown wrapper that have the sturdier wrappers versus a Connecticut type wrapper. But that has good combustibility, pretty sturdy, and has a nice image to it. And you can also pick out the strength that you want it in to match the taste of your golfing buddies if you're giving them out. My silver medal list, I got to throw a Connecticut in here for crying out loud. A true Connecticut, and that's a Perdomo Champagne. That's a nice cigar, good image, pretty sturdy as Connecticut's go, very good combustibility. It isn't too expensive, but like I said, has a nice, classy image to it. I also like the Oliva V series and the Master Blend 3, and I like those because of their durability and combustibility. They also don't break the bank. They're moderately priced cigars. Let's go down to my bronze medalists. For Connecticut's, I like the CAO Gold. That's kind of a classic Connecticut cigar. I also like the Brickhouse Double Connecticut because out of the Connecticut's that I've ever smoked, it seems to me to be one of the sturdier ones and has pretty good flavor profile. So if you're looking for Connecticut's, those are two that I'd consider. The last one I'll mention is La Aroma de Cuba. And I'm talking about the base model of that, not all the various variations that they have of it now. But the base model, medium, full body, a little bit tending more toward medium, so it has a nice broad flavor profile. It's sturdy enough, combustible enough, and the name might be familiar to those who are familiar with smoking cigars. All right, that's all I have today from Cigars and Other Dude Stuff. I will see you next time. If you haven't subscribed, smash that subscribe button, okay? All right, thanks for watching. Bye.